Announcement culture is real. We live in a world where there's pressure to be seen. We view other people's highlight reels and feel compelled to announce our own carefully constructed version of ourselves. One of the necessary elements of a quiet time is that it is done in secret. It's hidden. In 1 Kings 17, Elijah shows up in a place of prominence in King Ahab's court, where he proclaims a word from God that will have a profound impact on the nation, saying, "There shall be neither rain nor dew except by my word." That really is an announcement. The next verse has God saying to Elijah, "Depart from here and turn eastward and hide yourself." Elijah moves very quickly from a place of prominence to a place of hiddenness. Hide yourself. In the place of hiddenness, Elijah receives unusual provision from God. Tucked away in an inaccessible place near a small stream, he is fed by ravens every day. This was way outside of his comfort zone. He's a world away from the royal palace. It's a solitary place in which he is totally reliant on God for nourishment and comfort. After a while, the stream dries up and Elijah travels into enemy territory, where a widow miraculously provides for him. This presented yet another challenge for Elijah. A man of God asking for help from a widow who was herself dependent on charity was culturally taboo and extremely humbling. Yet it is in that moment of humility that God acts miraculously. He provides an unlimited supply of flour and oil for Elijah and the widow's family to live on. 3 years after God first commanded Elijah to hide himself, God says to him, "Go show yourself." Elijah goes back and announces that it will now rain. Imagine how frustrating the waiting must have been at times. In a culture that appears to value prominence, celebrity, recognition, and public affirmation, how well do we cope with the idea of hiddenness? It's in hiddenness where we learn about God, where we become dependent, comforted, and nourished by Him, where we begin to trust that He knows what He is doing, where the lessons we learn are unique to us, and sometimes mean we are fed by ravens and looked after by widows. Hiddenness prepares us for the moments when we are visible. In hiddenness, we also learn to persevere. 1 Kings 17 is a chapter that spans 3 years, a prolonged period of hiddenness. Romans 12 verse 2 instructs us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." If we are going to sustain a quiet time and not to conform to the pattern of this world, we must understand that one of the drivers of our culture is immediacy. We need to learn the art of perseverance in this culture of immediacy. Write a list today. Put it in your Bible or somewhere you will look at regularly. Commit to praying regularly and consistently for the people and situations on the list, even if the breakthrough takes years.
17. Elijah fed by ravens. Now Elijah, who was from Tishbe in Gilead, told King Ahab, "As surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word." Then the Lord said to Elijah, "Go to the east and hide by Kerith Brook, near where it enters the Jordan River. Drink from the brook and eat what the ravens bring you, for I have commanded them to bring you food." So Elijah did as the Lord told him, and camped beside Kerith Brook, east of the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat each morning and evening, and he drank from the brook. But after a while the brook dried up, for there was no rainfall anywhere in the land. The widow at Zarephath. Then the Lord said to Elijah, "Go and live in the village of Zarephath near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you." So he went to Zarephath. As he arrived at the gates of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks, and he asked her, "Would you please bring me a little water in a cup?" As she was going to get it, he called her, "Bring me a bite of bread, too." But she said, "I swear, by the Lord your God, that I don't have a single piece of bread in the house, and I have only a handful of flour left in the jar, and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jug. I was just gathering a few sticks to cook this last meal, and then my son and I will die." But Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you've said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: there will always be flour and olive oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord sends rain and the crops grow again." So she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and olive oil left in the containers, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah. Sometime later, the woman's son became sick. He grew worse and worse, and finally, he died. Then she said to Elijah, "O man of God, what have you done to me? Have you come here to point out my sins and kill my son?" But Elijah replied, "Give me your son." And he took the child's body from her arms, carried him up the stairs to the room where he was staying, and laid the body on his bed. Then Elijah cried out to the Lord, "O Lord my God, why have you brought tragedy to this widow who has opened her home to me, causing her son to die?" And he stretched himself out over the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord, "O Lord my God, please let this child's life return to him." The Lord heard Elijah's prayer, and the life of the child returned, and he revived. Then Elijah brought him down from the upper room and gave him to his mother. "Look," he said, "your son is alive." Then the woman told Elijah, "Now I know for sure that you are a man of God, and that the Lord truly speaks through you. Keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you."